This is street racing, with a bunch of modified cars on open, public roads. It's extremely dangerous, extremely illegal. These people probably break more laws in a single night than most people will break in their entire lives. It's also extremely dangerous, not just for the drivers dealing with traffic, but for the spectators, both innocent bystanders and friends of the group. Over 100 people a year are killed in these street racing incidents, as one of the most dangerous illegal motorsports anywhere on Earth. Now compare that to across the pond in England at a little circuit called Goodwood. This is, on the surface, relatively similar, although the entire concept is much different. The cars are a lot more expensive, but also equally unique. Only this time, instead of coming from the creation of an individual, these are some of the most valuable historic racing vehicles on the planet. Yes, whether they be Le Mans winners, Indy cars, or anything else in between, if it has a history, it's raced, and it can be anything. Hill climbing, for Pikes Peaks, anything. This can have it. And they will race each other up the hill as fast as possible for timed runs. So what if I took the street racing cars from the illegal events and put them on this legal hill climb? Get them off the street and into the racing in a much more safe, more legal way. Now, if I'm going to do that, I need to first learn the course, and I could learn it in, a touring car, but I hopped back into the 1995 24-hour Le Mans outright winning Trojan Tyrus. Ho 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 ho! This has been a long time since I sat in this car. Oh, that's a good noise. That's a Trojan V12 right there. Oh, oh. Yes! Sorry. Learning the track. Right, okay. So we head down this straightaway here into 5th gear, chuck it into 6th, flat out through the first corner, flat out through the second corner. It's almost double apex. Then we go underneath the gantry right here, heading into the bumpiest, scariest corner. Right there, you can feel the bump just jostle the car around, but then we have the scariest section of the track called the Flint Wall. We gotta be brave, gotta be flat out through the chicane on it. Whoa, that's really narrow for a car this valuable. It's like $25 million. Okay, one more corner to go. There's the finish line. Not very long, but definitely a challenge, which means it's left just to find the vehicles. And luckily, a lot of enthusiasts showed up to my casting call. Now, granted, a lot of these cars are normal vehicles that have been meticulously crafted into a owner's perfect expression of themselves, but not all of them are like that. In fact, with COVID money and time on their hands, these vehicles were a bit wild. Some of them definitely had a bit more money and a bit more time on their hands than other people, which is why we saw full-on time attack monsters that were definitely not road legal, trying to compete for overall honors in the amateur class. Although I highly doubt some of these cars were amateur, they were 1,000 horsepower, crazy winged monsters that, even when front-wheel drive, could give honest-to-God rivals to the full-on race cars. But the fastest of them all was one with normal aero. This ANNIS Elegy from 1990. Yeah, it looks simple, apart from a diffuser, a wing, and a paint job, but it's all-wheel drive, 900 horsepower, and incredibly lightweight. It's a monster. It recorded a 41-second time up the hill, which is faster than a Trojan Emrys. Yeah. Now, I couldn't just show up at this event in a normal car. This is supposed to be about expressing yourself, which is why I chose this. Now, before I explain what I mean by expressing myself, let's take a brief look at what this car actually is. It's called the ANNIS Euros, and I chose it for one very particular reason. It's a rear-wheel drive Japanese sports car, and we have not seen a coupe like this in quite a long time. I would argue since the Karen 190Z from the 60s. And this thing is a riot. Less than 3,000 pounds, rear-wheel drive. Not very powerful, but the engine is very tunable, and even without it, it's very fun. Granted, it's a bit old-fashioned with a CD player and weird analog dials, but you get what you pay for. This is a much cheaper car than the competition. And sure, it's not going to win you any races, it's not going to do anything fantastic, but it puts a smile on your face and it looks good doing it. It's actually almost ready for the hill climb, except for one thing. That customization, and luckily, I don't even have to build it myself this time, because San Andreas actually lent me their show car from a certain well-known car show for customized vehicles in Las Vegas. And while sure it looks very professional and very safe for a show and dangerous on the road, it's hiding a lethal weapon. Inside, it was fully stripped out with an FIA roll cage, a fully fledged racing fuel cell stripped out of 600 pounds of weight, and the engine was boosted up to over 700 horsepower. So while sure, it may ride low and have fancy tires and a paint job, it is more than capable of massacring on the track. So I arrived at that track at Goodwood in England, and I was a little bit nervous. Because, well, this is the first run. We get one qualifying, one actual timed run, so this is our practice lap, if you will. Oh, I'm a bit nervous. Okay. That's a lot of power. It's more power than that Progen, actually. Yep, and we get lots of wheel spin because of it. That's not a great launch. Alright, rack it through the gears. This thing is ridiculously fast accelerating now. Once you can't get the power down, turn it in. Try not to get oversteer. Ooh, ooh, okay, I feel the back end is very lively on this. It's nowhere near as planted as that Progen, or as other vehicles in its class, for that matter. Let me turn in very cautiously on the bump. We don't want to get too upset. This is rear-wheel drive after all, and the slidiness is quite apparent. Heading into the flint wall, nice and straight. Oh, I hate that. I hate that every time. I hate that every time. We got one more corner though to cross the line. Oh, okay. That was terrifying. But now we have to do the actual run and be even braver. Okay. It was scary at half speed, and now we have to go full speed. Right. Well, we're safe in here. Should I crash it? Granted, I won't be safe from the owner, but let's not think about that right now. Let's just rev it up, try and get a better launch. Launch control, there we go, that's better. Less wheel spin. Okay, we're going through the gears again. We're getting up to 120 miles an hour. It's very fast on this hill climb. Turn it in, nice and smooth. Ooh, a little bit of a sound on the curve, okay. That didn't do that last time. It's fine. We lost probably a tenth of a second, maybe two. Gotta be braver on the bump. Turned in. Whoa, okay, that was good, that was good, that was smooth, that was clean. We kept the power down, we lifted off a little bit, but we kept our foot down as we exited, now chucking it through the wall. Okay, just two more corners to go. Make that one more corner. Come on, carry the speed, a little bit of a lift. There we go. One more, and we are flat out, all the way to the line! My car did a 43.8, which is just 1/1000th of a second slower than the Le Mans winning Tyrus that I drove at the beginning. This is an incredibly impressive car, and honestly, the only thing more impressive than this vehicle is the event. Goodwood itself is a fantastic event anyway for any car enthusiast, but when you combine these more amateur air quote builds, it's simply fantastic, and it's also safer and better regulated and better timed, and it doesn't kill people or put them in jail. So even if it does cost a bit of extra money to rent the track out, I think it's more than worth the price of admission.